Time to talk weeds with our weed extension specialist, Joe Armstrong. And Joe, a lot of producers, of course, getting their wheat in the ground this time of year, but your focus, of course, is kind of talking to them about weeds and the best way to spray and get set up for fall.
Sure. You know, some of this wheat's been in the ground for many weeks now, and some of it's just going in the ground here in the last few weeks with the rain we've had. But depending on when you planted and the weeds you have in your field historically, some guys are going to get very close to time to get out there and start treating for those early season flushes of weeds. Dockage has become a major concern for wheat in the state here. Our wheat quality has started to slide down a little bit, and we would recommend that farmers get out there, scout their fields in the fall, and look to make those applications in the fall to get the best weed control, but then also give the crop the best opportunity to use the nutrients and moisture that's there.
And Joe, you're encouraging producers to kind of get out there a little earlier than they have traditionally in the past?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys look maybe towards those spring applications so they can try and get all the weeds in one application. Well, we'd like to see guys spray more in the fall here when the weeds are smaller, easier to control, and again, give that crop the opportunity to then provide some canopy cover in the spring and hopefully prevent any flushes of weeds in the spring season there.
And when you're spraying, it's not really a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It sounds like it's pretty individual.
Yeah, you need to treat each field individually, and that comes from harvesting. You know, you see what weeds are there, and years past, what problem weeds you had there. You know, the big weeds in the state are Italian ryegrass. Rescue grass has become a major weed problem. Of course, cheat, mare's tail, some of those broadleaf weeds are becoming more difficult to control. But ryegrass is a good example where you have to know specifically the weed you've got out there, and then also if you have any herbicide resistance issues. And we've found plenty of cases of ALS resistant Italian ryegrass. So products like Osprey or PowerFlex or Beyond aren't going to work by themselves now. You're going to have to use another product, and one that we've had a lot of luck with and farmers use it all over the place is Axial XL. And that would be great for the ryegrass, the Axial, but then if you do have downy brome or cheat or rescue grass, you're going to have to use another product.
And kind of specialize that formula. Let's talk about identifying the weeds. It's kind of, there's a science to it, I guess.
Well, like you said, you know, each field needs to be kind of tailored, or the herbicide application needs to be tailored for that field, and identification is the biggest step there. Unfortunately, not every grass control product controls every grass out there, or every broadleaf weed for that matter. So identification is crucial. You can't just buzz by the field and say, well, I got weeds in the rows there, I got to get out and spray. You need to get out there. With grasses, probably the easiest thing to do is dig up the plant, try and find that seed in there, and that'll give you an idea of what it is. Broadleaf weeds, there's resources online where you can identify them based on their leaf shape and size. One bulletin that Oklahoma State Extension has put out a few years ago is a poster of identifying grass weeds. And it's a big fold-out flyer that farmers can look at big photos of grass weeds to help them identify based on some of those characteristics that distinguish the different weeds out there. This is available at your county extension office, so talk to your county extension educator. They should have some copies, and if they don't, they can get one for you right away. It's also available online at the Oklahoma State Extension website as a PDF format there.
And finally, Joe, tell me about the ongoing research you have. You want producers to identify some seeds and send them in to you so you can work on furthering your research?
Yeah, as I mentioned, ALS resistant ryegrass is a big concern, and Oklahoma State's done a lot of testing the last few years to identify and document cases of resistant populations around the state. We'd like to expand that into other weed species and document cases of resistance. So, you know, right now, I know some guys are still harvesting some of those summer crops, so if they have some concerns with resistant pigweed, kochia, Johnson grass, essentially any weed that they feel like they sprayed and at the right time and the right rate and everything, and it didn't die, that's a candidate for herbicide resistance. And so we're encouraging farmers to collect seed from those weeds, send them in to me at OSU here, and we can test those in the greenhouse with different chemicals and different rates and get that information back to them so they can make an informed decision in adjusting their weed control practices to handle those resistant problems.
And what's the best way to contact you, or do they go online? Or
yeah, online is a great way. Weedscience.okstate.edu. through the Plant and Soil Sciences Department is my website. They can also contact their county extension educator, and they could get them squared away with a submission form and the address to send in those samples.
Okay, Joe Armstrong, our Extension Weed Specialist. Thank you.
Thank you.